All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. A week off from the Throwin Sliders podcast, but we are back. Glad to be with you tonight, this Monday, August 11th, talking about everything Knoxville and the racing, or the lack thereof, that it was on Saturday night. We'll dig into that and kind of do a deep dive into some more technical financial items of the Knoxville Nationals, and then talk about this upcoming weekend, all right here on episode 45 of the Throwin Sliders podcast. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a great, we'll call it a bye week for the Throwin Sliders podcast. Back again, Brandon Hall and Blair Cooper on the mics tonight. Just a quick and dirty episode tonight. No guests, just kind of getting back into the groove of things. I know between both of us been extremely busy, but yeah, glad to be back. So how you doing, Blair?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back too. I was a little disappointed. We actually almost made it just a Brandon show tonight, but a lot of people have reached out to me asking, from the episode when we talked about my car being trashed, or at least the front clip's gone. It probably could be fixed, but just in the timeline. For those that know, I bought another brand new chassis and had it shipped from Washington. Supposed to be here last Thursday. Got the other car completely stripped and still's not here yet. So. Everybody who was looking forward to Waukene and El Paso County, we still might make El Paso County, but Brandon and I were talking on earlier. Not sure if Waukene is going to happen. If I don't get it within the next day, it's going to be close. If I don't get it within the next couple of days, Callahan might not be a thing. So that's kind of disappointing. But
it's
a used one.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a funny story, and then we'll actually talk about racing. I'm a stickler, I guess, when I order something, and that's with Racing Rowdy Ranch. I try to be on top of it. Like, I hate waiting for things. And I know in today's day and age, depending on where you live, like here in Denver proper, you order something on Amazon, it usually 90% of the time, as long as you spend $25 or more, we can get it the same day. And I've gotten accustomed to that. So I recently purchased an order. I'm not going to say the company's name or anything. And it hasn't updated me in the email saying like order confirmed. Like, it sent me saying, hey, we got your order, but it hasn't shipped. And it's been like 4 days, and that shit pisses me off more than anything. And so I can only imagine what you're going through with a race car frame that's way more expensive versus the thing I ordered. And it's just that you're at the mercy of the company, and it sucks sometimes. But yeah, unfortunate for you. And like you said, it was going to be a one-man show tonight, which was in Blair's favor, because that would mean, he would have his frame, he'd be swapping everything over. I would blab on for 30 minutes and we'd be done. And Blair could get back to what he does best, and that's putting together race cars. So anyway, you get both of us tonight. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's dive right into Knoxville Nationals. I didn't get to watch I guess we'll call them the prelim nights, Wednesday, Thursday. Obviously had kind of I wouldn't say the usual suspects winning. But obviously Kyle Larson won Thursday. Tim's won Wednesday's prelim, right? And he also...
yes. Yep, Wednesday and then Larson Thursday, correct?
Yep. And then...
Rico, Tim's, and Larson. So, I mean, your guys that were always fast, or that you expected to be fast, were all pretty fast. I know David Gravel got wadded up in that prelim night.
Yeah, he did. But, backup car.
Tim's was definitely the surprise.
Yeah, and based on points, obviously started on the pole for Saturday's event. Blair and I were talking kind of when we did that ad for the giveaway there. We were hopeful that we wouldn't see a repeat of last year, right? With Larson, leading flag to flag, even at the halfway point. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it went. And I think it was even more of a dominant performance than Larson put on last year, because if memory serves, it was, I can't remember who was chasing him down, Rico maybe. but yeah, it was just like every restart, halfway point did not matter. Ryan Timms just it wasn't even close. And you usually don't see that big of a gap, I'll say, from first to second in a sprint car race. Like oval asphalt, you can sometimes see that, but even in lap traffic, I was like, all right, he's going to make a mistake or something like that. And it just didn't happen. So, I mean, kudos to Ryan Timms. I mean, 18, 19 years old, youngest ever to win it. I'm sure that really puts him on the map. He was already, but really puts him on the map. But yeah, just disappointed. I was talking to Blair. I'll pass it to him, but I was talking to him about even the wife, doesn't know that much about any of this. She's like, that track looks really wet. And I was like, that's the problem. Like they're just hammer down. And, I think they even made a comment on the broadcast at the halfway break on the visor. It was just coated with mud. You couldn't even read their last names. They're like, that's not typical for Knoxville. I was like, yeah. So what are we doing here? Like fix that. Like that's 2 years in a row. So anyway, your thoughts on the Saturday show?
No, it is funny because obviously they want to have the track good, rolled in, smooth, wet, prepped. But when it's obviously the conditions there, humidity. I mean, you even made mention of vapor trails. I mean, right away. So the sun hadn't even down, and those cars just dense air, full horsepower. Then that dirt just gives. Obviously, Tim's. I mean, that just goes to show. We talk about it a lot. I mean, a lot of great drivers, but still. And something I've had to learn is you can never escape a good setup. Like you're just not going to outdrive somebody. And then he put those guys at a disadvantage with that good of a car. And then you could see them fighting in dirty air. And on a half mile, that's going to kill you too. You see, we talked about Corey Day. That car looked wicked when he got in dirty air. Otherwise it ran pretty good. But a lot of intangibles that people wouldn't normally know if they're not deep into it, but that makes it hard to chase somebody down in clean air. That's just absolutely up, and they couldn't even put pressure on him. So I mean, here he is 4.5 seconds away twice, at the halfway point, and then he checked out again, and it was like, holy moly, those half miles are tough. We talk about that a lot. In fact, we talked about it on the last show. That can happen. I mean, like you said, asphalt. It happens. Seems a lot more because dirt tracks do seem to change so much. But when it happens in dirt, it turns into a parade. Not that great of a race to watch. Now there was some action back in the field. But still.
Yeah, the closing laps, I'd say whatever it was, 10 to go. The race for second to fourth, fifth, maybe. I think it changed like 4 times in the last handful of laps, which was cool to see. But it was like, this is for second. It's for the podium. Like cool still, but I mean, though at one point, I mean, Corey Day taking him 3 wide, 2 for 1, like that was bad. That was the coolest part of the race was those closing laps. But yeah, I'm no expert on track prep or what they need to do, but as Torrin said there, they had to start early, and I know there was rain earlier in the week, which never helps anything. But yeah, I just that's the granddaddy, that's the Super Bowl of sprint car racing, and I feel like we could turn Flow on any given night watching the high limit and see a better race than that. And it's just I know you're not going to have those coming out of 4 finishes with a last second pass every night, but when you're putting that much, as we have the purse pulled up here that we shared, $195,000 to win for first place, when you have that kind of purse money involved, you expect, I guess, I expect a better show, but is what it is.
And that is difficult. Like Torrin said, they had to start early, so they probably had watered that thing down because it is weird. I mean, you either get one extreme or the other at some point. Sure. So it's hard to be critical of that because those guys do what they normally do. Obviously, they know how to make that place great.
Oh, yeah.
But, the extenuating circumstances make it tough. So, yeah, not to be critical of them. I know you're not either, but it's just, it's not something you want to see. It's like the Super Bowl of football being an absolute blowout. Sometimes it happens.
Right. Like last year. Chiefs and Eagles, that was an absolute shit show, and that happens from time to time. I get it, but like Torrin said, you can't have the same guy leading it. I mean, you do, and it's happened 2 years in a row, but it is what it is. And to that point about the amount of water, I was obviously watching the race from second on back because I didn't really focus on Tim's, but it never got dry. It never changed color. It was just mud the entire time. And it was, I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, if you're fighting Mother Nature early in the week, you got to take that into account. And I feel like humidity, like you said, immediately when I turn the broadcast on, I'm texting Blair, they're vapor trailing already. Like, what the hell? Like, it's daylight out still. And you could see it like every time going into the corner. So Yeah, I mean, not much else to say there. I will touch on the point of, I guess we'll call it. I feel like it started out with a Larson, David Gravel rivalry. What happened at Eldora, and now it's kind of a high limit against David Gravel rivalry. And then Sammy Swindell got involved with the comment he made, and it's just, I mean, it's good for the sport, right? But I mean, someone's got to play the villain role, and I think, I mean, I'm a fan of David Gravel, right? He's amazing behind the wheel of a sprint car, and I think he's accepting the role like he's the villain right now, and I think that's driving him. Obviously, as you alluded to, crashing his car in the prelim night, started 21st, I want to say, and drove up to second. I mean, you can't deny that talent. So hate him or love him, and I think the rivalry is great for all the sport of sprint car, and hopefully down the road, obviously the high limit guys join the World of Outlaws, obviously Knoxville Nationals, Eldora, that kind of thing. But hoping Gravel would come over at some point if schedules allow, because I think that would be a really good storyline to follow. So, and he would obviously perform really well, I think. So,
yeah, that car's strong. It is kind of funny to me, and if you talk to a lot of people, the history and everything that's built around Knoxville is pretty incredible. I don't know if you saw any of the videos leading up to, but that whole town shuts down. And they've got, the sidewalks are painted with checkered flags for crosswalks. I mean, it's just one of those racing towns. But to me, I do think there's better venues out there, places that I'd rather race as a crown jewel. Even Eldora, it was rough as it was this year. Just the, and maybe not Eldora even, but there's other tracks that I watch them race at where I think they put on a better show, and it does put it a little bit more in the driver's hands. That someday we'll see. I know they're kind of, depends on where the money goes to, on what could be considered the Super Bowl of sprint car racing. But to me, Knoxville doesn't look super fun. I know it's a race everybody wants to win. I mean,
sure.
But we'll see how that hangs out. I heard a lot of guys talking about Eldora even being a bigger, more intense, badder race. But it's just the history once you get that far. And I don't want to knock on it. I've never been there even, but
sure.
Let me talk about 2.5 miles are tough.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to, I guess, last thing I'll say on Knoxville before we take an ad break here and talk about the financial part of it. Again, not knocking on anything. I'm not a track owner. I'm not a broadcaster or anything like that. But I feel like, again, Dirt Vision compared to Flow, there's a very big gap, I will say, in the just overall, like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like Flow Racing's coverage is better all around. Even from the audio, right? I mean, interviewing drivers, it was so like quiet. You have to turn up the like, it's just, I don't know. For being a Super Bowl, I feel like I would give that whole spectacle, the race, the broadcast, everything, probably a 6. And I'm being very, very polite there. So anyway, but yeah, to Torrin's point, obviously STM alumni, Chase and Tony are the best in the business, and hopefully they pay them as such. So anyways, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about, Blair brought up a good point in the pre-show about the financial aspect of a big race like that. Just kind of get the wheels turning, talk about that a little bit. But before we do that, I want to take a break, talk about Racing Rowdy Ranch. Obviously, we have, I think, 3 or 4 of the Throwin Slaughters podcast hats still available. So definitely go check those out. If you have not already, they are live up on the site, ready to be put on your sweaty, stinky head. So go do that. And then we also have some new Racing Rowdy Ranch hats as well, the Coors OG patch, and a couple of others. So definitely go check that out. I will preface one of our later segments saying, if goes to plan, we will be at El Paso County Speedway this weekend. So definitely come see Blair or I, and we'll have some hats available for purchase. So with that, we'll play the ad and get into the financials of the Knoxville Nationals.
Racing Rowdy Ranch was created with one person, one adjective, and one place in mind: the blue-collar racer and the crew behind the scenes. A word that can describe these racers and crews and how they live. Finally, a place where the straightaways and turns are these racers' pastures and hills, all bordered by concrete walls that could share more than their fair share of memories, even after several coats of paint. We are racing. We live rowdy and we long to be at the ranch, riding for the brand. An apparel company designed to showcase just that, push the limits every day and be proud of who we are. Visit RacingRowdyRanch.com now to order yours today. Saddle up, strap in, and live rowdy. Proud presenting partner of Scrubbin' Tires Media and the Throwin Sliders podcast.
There you go. RacingRowdyRanch.com. Forget the WW. Blair hates it. If you just go there, you'll see it all. So filtered it out actually to not have the out of stock stuff taking up so much room. So you'll only see what's in stock so you can navigate more quickly and efficiently. Again, there's some new Racing Rowdy Ranch hats on there. Same style as what I'm wearing. And the Throwin Sliders podcast hats. So definitely check them out. Once they're gone, they might be gone. I'm just prefacing that. So appreciate your support there. All right, Blair, take us through the financial. Let's put on our financial glasses and hat real quick, and let's dig into this. Oh, did we lose you?
Well, you had posted, and I don't know if we could pull it up, but the chart.
Oh, no, you're good.
Am I losing?
Yep. No, you're good. Keep going. There's just a little lag, but we're good.
You had the. Oh, I'm sorry. You had the chart of what it paid out for the races.
I do, yeah.
And we can throw that up real quick. We can, yeah, just so that the guys watching on live here can see. But it's $195,000 to win, right? That was.
Yes, pulling it up, but yes, $195,000. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, and you have all these mains from the day before. So if people were wondering why your B main, C main, all those for the actual top four positions paid less, it's because those guys are going to transfer to each of the next main. So say you did start in the E and transferred, you're going to have to go to the back of the D. But anyway, you're getting paid for all those as you keep working your way through. So if you finish in that top four, they're going to cap the pay because you're moving on, got a chance to win more money every time you go through. But if you can see there, once you get down to third place, it's $45,000, which is, I mean, it's a lot of money either way you cut it. But when you're getting into this type of racing with 410s, even the 360, but let's just go with the 410s because they're here. I was looking at this, and for 24, so if you go through the 103 cars that were there, you're lucky enough to make it or good enough, you get $15,000 to start the show in the A main at the Nationals. Well, say you've collected 25, 30,000 for that whole week, but you've been there 5 days. You got hotel, you've got crew. You know, most of these teams are going are not your regional or local. They're guys that have the ability to tour. So on a 410, even if you went through all those motors, I guarantee you they're changing oil at least probably at most 2 nights is what you go on a half mile. On an oil change. So there's $160 a pop there. It's all the intangibles that a lot of people don't think about. So say you've got $320 an oil change in 2 days, you multiply that out, you've got 5-6 shows, you're going to have fresh oil for the A main on Saturday night. I mean, so, you've almost got probably $750 to $1,000 in oil changes for that week, or even say $700 in it. You've got your crew, your hotels for all those days. So what are you really winning? Unless you go to the top 4 in the show and you've done well all week, you're probably looking at about staying at one track. You're probably looking at about $6,500 to $8,000 a day just to run there in operational costs. It's going to be new tires every day. If you're trying to run for a transfer spot, you're not going to chance it to half worn stuff. Now, the track was good enough and heavy enough that week that they probably didn't burn up a bunch of tires. That's one thing. No. I mean, you could look at them even like Larson last year in the main. They didn't even change in a 50 lap or nothing.
And I was looking at that at the halfway break, and a lot more cars changed the right rear than last year. Obviously, as you mentioned, Larson, but they looked. I mean, if you had that right rear, you'd run it for 2 races. You know what I mean? They were fine.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. But so maybe they had a little bit less cost in tires. But we had talked about the intangibles too. Just getting those rigs to the track. The diesel on a toter home with a semi, it's, you really could easily add up to a $10,000 a night trip if you're traveling from track to track. So say if they were lucky, not crashing the car, $7,500 a whack. It's just gotten crazy. And these teams aren't profitable. I mean, that $1 million purse is incredible. 1.1 total purse for the weekend, but I guarantee you the total cost is, so they still everybody needs to do some work on bringing money into the sport. I mean, that's like you and I talked about. I've gotten so analytical on it. It goes down to every time I fire the motor up for a race, you get on a 360, we're lucky. We get about 20 to 25 nights on a Freshen. Well, every time I fire that motor to go out for a feature, that's $500 of life. If nothing goes wrong for those 25 nights, because a Freshen is going to be about 10 grand. I know some of the 410s, they're running them 10 nights and freshening them, and those probably are in between 10 to 14,000. 410's always a little more, on stuff like that, but that's not hurting anything. So it is crazy what these guys are spend to even do it. I mean, it prices us out. Like if I have a $30,000 week, that's just not, or say I do it for half and I've got 15 in it and you run at the very back. If you got lucky, I mean, I'm not saying I would even make the show, but if you there trying to do it, I know Gossel was there.
Well, I think a prime example is either, like you said, Gossel, a Booback, he transferred up. Tanner Holmes, right? He won the, was that the C feature, maybe something like that. But so he obviously spent a lot of money trying to keep transferring, and then they put him in the back, obviously. So I'm sure Tanner Holmes Racing spent a pretty penny and didn't even make the main, right? I mean, that's just how it goes. But yeah, you see those. It's interesting because you see those purses posted, right? And they were, wow, it's so profitable. And then you start actually thinking not really. When, like you said, I think way back when, maybe a year ago. So it's anytime those top level 410 guys open the door to the trailer, 10 grand, 20 grand, for the night. So yeah, I mean, if you're Ryan Timms, if you're Corey Day, Rico, those guys, yeah, you probably made a couple $1,000 after all the expenses are paid. But yeah, you're not doing it to become rich or, bank on your 401k. That's for damn sure.
Well, and the only thing is, I mean, if you actually get to the level where you're just a driver for the team owner, I know most of those guys contracts are 50%. So if you win the race, you didn't put any money out of your pocket, but just to be the privateer anymore. I mean, we could harp on that all the time, but it is funny. Even the regional stuff, when we race for $3,000 to $5,000 and $300 to start, talk about it's, they have to figure it out. And what I was going to bring up to you is I just learned about something new yesterday. Have you heard of Banana Ball?
Where are we going with this?
Bananas.
Yeah. Okay. They were in Denver this weekend.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, but I listened to the CEO on the Journal, the Money Business Power podcast. And so I got the whole insights of what he's doing. And then I see that they're in Denver. I never even heard of it, but then I see they're in Denver. And and just how it's not for me, I mean, for kids and families and stuff, great. But
I had a couple friends, family that were there, and they were showing pictures. They put more asses in the seats than a Rockies game. And I was like, that's the problem. That is a big problem.
Yeah, it's the same problem, and that's kind of gets to what needs to happen. I mean, not that we need to turn into the Savannah Bananas in dirt track racing, but the bang for the buck and entertainment value for the family is that you have to be creative because it's still possible. I know we talk about it with promoters all the time. They're like, we just can't put asses in the seats like we used to. We can't charge as much. Well, baseball's in a worse shape than sprint car racing is. I honestly believe it's just got a built-in larger audience historically. Yeah. But once they're gone, there's more of those fans that were propping those businesses up. But when you see the rise of sprint car racing or anything dirt track, you can put asses in the seats. It just has to be bang for your buck and give the people to bring their kids out and make those kids fans. Because, sorry, this is my last ramble on this, but I was also listening on the podcast about the problem with a lot of these major league sporting events is they have priced out the working class. And in doing so, if dads aren't taking their kids to professional sporting events and stuff like that, those kids are never going to be connected to those teams.
And they're sitting on YouTube all weekend long watching whatever the hell they watch.
Mr. Beast or whatever, something else, and it's it is hard to get attention now, but it obviously can be done. And I just thought, man, we need to push to these promoters that, hey, you're going to have to be creative, and it may cost you a little bit up front. I know the guy said he couldn't even get a meeting with 70 people to start the league up. Now he owns all 4 teams, and guess who's cashing in and filling up stadiums, so it could be done. I hope that'll only help with dirt track and then bring in more people, but at least it shows them that it is possible.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a really excellent point, honestly, because the wife and I were actually talking about that, and I'll get into that in a minute, but to your point about getting the younger fans, and I know we've discussed this over and over and over, but to your point, they're watching Mr. Beast or Miss Rachel, because that's the only thing I can think of, because that's what our daughter watches. If we can get them in the seat at a sprint car show, then guess what? When they're not at the show, they might be Googling or watching flow racing or watching YouTube highlights on YouTube of sprint car racing or racing in general, which is good for the sport. They start tuning in, watching events that they can't, be at physically. It boosts the ratings. It's good for the sport. So, and Cletus McFarland has nailed that down, right? Like if you can't go to Florida and be at his track to watch the various races that he has, like subscribe to his channel and watch that. And that he's, just killing it with the views and all that stuff. So I think that is a very good avenue, but collectively, I think the sport of racing in general, from the top, I don't know the viewership numbers, the analytics, anything on the national level. As we had, Tony on and everything we talked about flow. And it seems like those ratings are doing well, but there's still more room to grow, getting this wave of youngsters that are glued to their phones, glued to their tablets and stuff to be watching this instead of stupid stuff on YouTube that you could go down many different tunnels for hours and hours. But to my other point, call it sub B here. I think there was a monster truck show, must have been at the Broncos field or somewhere in Denver. We had a friend go into that and posting pictures. I was like, wow, like I didn't see this person going to that, which is great. Like get them out there. Like it's a young boy, their boy wanted to go see it and everything. And it's great. But I'm like, we had this discussion, Mike Land, and I said, I've been to my fair share of monster trucks, but I was like, I literally told her, I was like, once any race car, I guess, but a sprint car, especially because we were watching the Knoxville Nationals when we were discussing this. Once you see one of those cars, it's a sensory thing. See, feel, touch, smell. One of those things go by, I would 10 times out of 10 times I would pay to go watch a sprint car race, locally, regional, national, over a monster truck show. And that's just me. Like monster trucks are cool, but it's like, yeah, they're loud, they're big. Like when you're a little kid, you're like, holy shit! Like look at this thing. Like we need one of those. But like, how do we get that same, hey, Dad, I want to go to the monster truck show this Saturday at Mile High. How do we get to say, hey, I want to go to El Paso County this weekend and watch a sprint car race, Dad? Like, how do we get there? Because once you watch a couple monster truck shows, it's the same damn thing, crushing cars, doing whatever they do. And I will say, we've talked about this a million times. They put on a show because they know their audience and they target, like they're not there for the dads. They're there for the kids. Fire breathing dragons and cotton candy and all the things they do. Like they got it. They know what they're doing. Now, how do we get that? Yeah. And that's why I don't know it's an open-ended question, but
yeah. Well, no, and I enjoy talking about this because obviously we have an interest in the sport growing, and I think it has, and I think they're doing better with a lot of it. But even if at Colorado National Speedway, one of the draws for kids was the trains. They would stay through the races. My
mom still will go to CNS just to watch the trains.
I'd stick around and watch because I just think it, it was just something that, and I wasn't even that young when I started going to CNS, but I was like, figure eights are really cool. This is nuts. And for those that don't know, it's a front car that has a motor and no brakes and a steering wheel. It's got those no brakes. And then it's chained to a middle car with nothing in it. And the back car has a person in it with just brakes, and they're all chained together. And then they run them in a figure eight. And it was like, talk about pure entertainment value. But it's even like, and I will say that, and this was some of the things I picked up on that I have noticed when you go to dirt tracks that you don't see. So take Colorado National, for example, or any of these Tucson I've been to, asphalt tracks, they're selling merch, the driver's shirts in the booth. I went down to Aztec and they said, we'll sell your shirts for you. We take a dollar off whatever the cost is when you sell it. We'll sell damaged body parts for you, and people buy that stuff. You could sign it. But I don't see that much at dirt tracks anymore. Maybe I need to get more on the fan side, but I just don't think it's quite there. You have your food vendors, your beer garden, and that's about it. I know that's where a lot of the money's made, and merch is tough, but man, those kids with the checkered flags, when you see those sitting in the stands and just little trinkets and stuff that, that's the difference with the monster truck shows or something like that they really monetized everything, but it's also not just about the money. The kids really do love it.
Yeah. And I think, we can compare. I think it's really apples and oranges, the monster truck show versus a sprint car race, for example. But yeah, just bringing back the little stuff like that. Like, I noticed last time we were at I-76, we had to miss out because we were making wholesale changes, but they had all the drivers go, underneath the grandstand, sign autographs. That's a great step, and, little things like that to, I think if you take a little kid or a teenager that's never been a part of this, to a sprint car race or a race in general, it's your first, last, and only chance to make them a fan. You know what I mean? Like, my wife, for example, obviously not a little kid or a teenager, but like when I took her to her first NASCAR race, she was like, this is way better than watching it on TV for 4 hours going around and around and around, because you smell it, you see it, you hear it, whatever. But I firmly believe that if you do not make them a fan the first time, they're like, nah, that was whatever. Like, I'll just go watch freaking Looney Tunes or whatever they're watching on YouTube. So yeah, we gotta collectively come up with a way, and maybe that's intermission stuff. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's expenses to have like CNS sometimes is drift cars. Like, these young teens are into that. So good on CNS for doing that. I mean, sure. I personally would not watch that, but that's just me. But we got to do something. So. Yeah,
well, and I even thought it was kind of creative. I mean, when with Belm at Callahan one night, or El Paso County, he had an intermission with bull riding, because that place is set up with chutes. So talk about kind of mixing audiences that are like-minded. I mean, bull riders and race car drivers, natural enemies same. In my book. But
little jockeys that are pissed off and have short man syndrome.
Yeah. So it's all the same shit, but honestly, I thought that was, kind of cool of a crossover. And then you get some of the cowboys in the pits. They're like, hey, what do you know? It's just interesting to see some crossover, something you used to see guys jumping buses in intermission or whatever on Evel Knievel style on motorcycles. I think they need to bring some of that back. And even if it's just for the virality of the online stuff, because that's really where you're going to get kids to say, hey, Mom, I want to go see this, or whatever it is. I don't know. But it really kind of opened my eyes this weekend when I was like, they just sold out Coors Field for dancing dudes in short shorts playing, trick baseball.
It's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. It's insane what they're able to do. But yeah, good for them. I mean, and it's also a dig at the Momfords for I don't know when the last time Coors Field was sold out or near capacity for a Rockies game.
2008.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's sad. I would, if I were the Mumfords and I were there, I'd be like, Anyway. So yeah, we'll maybe if you got an idea, throw it in the comments, or hit us up with what you think one of these promoters for a local track could do to gain the interest of young fans. Because us older fans, like, we're already hooked. It's a disease. We're there, but it's the new wave. It's always the new wave coming in to try to hook them. So with that, we'll pause for another ad here real quick. Did want to touch on if Blair and I and Tara and Tom are at the races, there you go. I like that plug. If you're at the racetrack this weekend, El Paso County, obviously the intent is for the 32 machine to be there racing, all that fun stuff. But Blair and I will be there with some Mountain Ops stuff to give away free of charge. We might ask that you take a picture with us at the booth that we're hoping to have. So yeah, come by. If we're not in the pits, we'll be walking around, whatever, giving some handouts, that kind of thing. But yeah, if Blair actually has a pit, definitely come stop by the 32 machines pit and come say hi, get you some Mountain Ops stuff, and we'll be glad to hang out with you and tell you all about Mountain Ops. So with that, we appreciate their support. Play that plug, and then yeah, we'll just kind of dive into this weekend's action here. Whether you're chasing checkered flags, chasing elk in the mountains, casting a line, or crushing early morning workouts in the gym, there's one name every high performer should know: Mountain Ops. This team fuels athletes, hunters, racers, and weekend warriors with the cleanest, hardest-hitting supplements on the market. Let's be honest, this sport isn't for the soft. Late nights in the garage, long drives to the track, and hot evenings in the pits and in the car. We are built different. That's why we run on Mountain Ops. Their supplements hit hard, feel clean, and don't have all that junk you can't pronounce. From early mornings to late nights on race day, this is the stuff that keeps the crew moving and ready for the next lap. Want in? Head to MTN OPS.com, enter code TS Podcast at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's right, enter code TSPODCAST at checkout for 20% off your order. You don't just want to show up, you want to win. Fuel like you mean it. Winners use Mountain Ops. Proud supporting partner of the Throwin Sliders podcast. And there you go. The TS Podcast code for 20% off is what you need to do. Save you a little money there when you're getting whatever you're getting on Mountain Ops. Again, we could go on and on and on for days about all the different various items they have, but Blair and I use it. We believe it. We stand by it. It's not just a plug. I can literally, turn my head. I feel like the cabinets upstairs are now just full of it. Like I feel like a episode off MTV Cribs when they're like all organized, like they got their Perrier and stuff. Like you open up any of it's Mountain Ops. So it's great. And you should do that too. Everybody should do that. It's good stuff. So we appreciate their support. Like I said, come see Blair, Tara, Tom, and I at El Paso County this weekend. We'll either be, Blair will either be racing something or we'll just be hanging out as spectators. And but yeah, come see us. We'll have Racing Rowdy Ranch hats. We'll have Mountain Ops stuff to give away. So definitely come do that. But yeah, I guess Blair, tell us. I guess we got a couple different plans this weekend.
Yeah.
Plan A would be.
Well, that's, if the car gets here, and Danny was asking, I guess he, since we took last week off, I hadn't really posted about it or anything, but after Gillette, obviously I hit that lap car, ramped off the track, and it bent it. The more I look at it, now that I've got it stripped naked, every bar I look at like this, I'm like, oh, that's bent, that's broke, that's cracked. So that car, whole front clip, the cage and everything seems to be fine, but we'd have to get it on a jig to look at it. Yeah, whole front clip's gone, down tubes are bent. But the plan is if I can get this car here, it was supposed to be here last week. If it comes in tomorrow, I'm still going to try. I'm not against pulling all-nighters on. It just makes it hard when you got to work the next day. But we're going to try to make Joaquini. These are both national tour races, so I feel like we've made enough strides that if we get the car decent, we're going to be fine there with the seat time I've had now. And obviously El Paso County, I'm comfortable there. Whether I'm good or absolutely terrible is still always 50-50 at that track for me. But yeah, so 2 national tour nights. It's Friday in Joaquini, Kansas, Saturday El Paso County here in Colorado. If the car gets here, we're going to try to make Joaquini. If it gets here tomorrow, I'm still going to try. If not, our plan is whenever it shows up, I'm going to try to build the thing from scratch, put all the other parts on it, do it in a night or two, get the thing squared, and then we're going to go race El Paso County, and that's where Brandon's going to come. We'll hang out and see what we can do. I know that's going to be a big show, so it will be on Dirt Vision.
Oh, I didn't see that on the app.
Oh, I think so. That's what they play on, right? Yeah, they do all the national tour races. I'm pretty sure.
I'm over here talking crap on them.
They do. It's hit or miss. I think Flo's probably got more money still and has a little bit of a head start on them. But sometimes, it's
maybe I could have a couple beers and ask if I can broadcast the race. Just make it a little better. I've done it on iRacing. I know what the hell I'm doing, right?
Hey, most guys. That's one thing.
I do. Yeah, I can give you personal funny stories about them, which they can't. So maybe they have me. Maybe for hot laps, I'll steal the microphone from them. Yeah. But yeah, you have obviously the sprint cars, lightning sprints, hobby stock, sport mod, stock cars, compact. So a fair amount of classes, but not too much. I will respect that. So it's a good little mix of big cars, little cars, open wheel, stuff like that. So looking forward to that. Weather looks good, I think, so far. That could change, obviously, but hoping that it's sunny and no wind and good for everybody. So yeah. Sam Haperdy Jr. is going to be there. Okay, he's on
all the national tour guys.
Yeah, I think I was expecting him to do a little better at Knoxville, but I know there's a shit ton of talent there. So
yeah, I think that comes down just if you nail it or not. Because that's like at Bristol, he sets a track record. His 4-ton stuff's been pretty good too, and 360 was won 5 or 6 in a row. 5 in a row. So, and he said that was his weaker program, the 360. So you just never know. It's right. But yeah, he's been really fast. So yeah, Goss'll be there. It'll be all the big names that do it full time on the national tour, and then
Blair Cooper will be there. Holy shit! Talk about big names.
You do have a built-in advantage. It's funny to see guys that have never been to El Paso County, no matter who they are or where they're from. It seems like the first hot lap session and maybe into qualifying, they always blow turn 1, 95% of guys, because it looks like it'll hold you in and it just won't. Unless there's been 2 nights with a cushion there where it'll stick you, but 85 to 90% of the time, it is funny to watch. Like, this is the one place I have an advantage early. blow through 1 and 2, and then second time around they usually figure it out. Those guys are good, but it is funny to see
Right.
that. Oh, you did the same thing we always try not to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, yeah, that's really all we had for tonight's show. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Fingers crossed, Blair's chassis comes in and you can get everything swapped over and actually participate Saturday. But I think even if unfortunately that doesn't come through, then we'll still be there and just enjoy a nice night of racing and get to hang out with everybody and say hello. So definitely come stop by us wherever we'll be. I'm sure you'll find us. Blair might end up with his shirt off by the end of the night. You never know. So try to contain that, make a reel out of that, post it to the page if that does happen. But that's really all we had. So I appreciate all the support from everybody. Obviously Racing Rowdy Ranch, Mountain Ops, all of you making this thing hum along each and every single week. We'll try to get a guest on for next week. Obviously with Blair kind of going 120 mile an hour, trying to get his car back ready. We'll just have to see what the future holds for next week. But that's all I have.
The car. I'm third in points too in both series. I think third in both series, Northern and Western Plains. So that'll probably. I'm really trying to make it. I mean, I don't like points racing, but I figure if we're in it, it's worth. It's enough money to pay for the chassis and all the stuff. So. And if anybody's got a car out there just sitting that needs it driven, I mean, even if it's a 305, that'd be okay at El Paso. But
there you go.
It's going to be hard to watch if we don't get the car together. I hate watching races I should be in.
Yeah,
we'll have fun. We'll make it fun either way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we appreciate it, as we said, and continue to like, share, comment, tell your friends, grow this thing. Appreciate all the support, and hopefully we get to talk to you, most of you guys, live and in person on Saturday. But until then, be safe, have a great week, and we'll catch you on Saturday, and if not, virtually on Monday. So keep throwing those sliders. See ya. This was another production of Scrubbin' Tires Media. The Throwin' Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio was created by Bryce Holcomb. Please like, share, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, keep throwing those